Beep beep. Hello. How you doing? I've been having a mull. Oh, I saw my American Warrior teachers last night. It's always good the stuff they're up to. It's my teaching week, so I spend a lot of the time teaching. It's a tiring week, I can tell you that now, but I thoroughly enjoy it because of the people that are on it and the people I see. And it's been an extraordinary few weeks. There's been an awful lot going on. So a number of things that have caught my eye. The first one being that tremendous report today from Sex Matters that's been put together by Helen and Maya and the team, in which they eviscerate is the only word that seems to suit. Eviscerate that collection of clowns that is Stonewall, who are once again going after Baroness Faulkner and trying to get the UK downgraded in terms of its human rights record. It's a prevent issue. Why doesn't anybody see this? It's a prevent issue. They are extremists and they need to be dealt with. So I see that, right? There's the enemy. Let's get at it. Then we've got other work going on in various other parts of the world. Stuff in Oklahoma that's been interesting. Various stuff that's happening with the passing of legislation. So in many ways, there's a lot of things happening that we have to be positive about. But then I watch everybody get embroiled about pronouns. Pronouns! Right? Pronouns, for God's sake. The pronouns business, which came from an article written in the Times, which is about Debbie Hayton. And that's obviously sparked a bit of a thing going on in which people that are ostensibly on the same side are now having a battle over whether or not we should use the pronoun she for somebody out of respect or friendship or whatever it may be. And it's causing a split amongst people, as these kinds of things do. This is not unusual behaviour, I think, for a collaboration as we jostle and move to find out where we are and solidify ideas and points of contention that can then become declarative statements. It's an interesting thing, and it's part of the milieu as far as I'm concerned. I'm sure we've seen this before, and I'm sure we will see it again. So it struck me as I should probably throw my 2 pennyworth in, which I will do now for you. But I will begin by saying that under no circumstances would I ever say to somebody, you must say X. You must speak in the way that I am speaking to you. So, for example, I think Sarah Fillmore was one of the individuals who said, right, that's it, I'm done. You won't tell me what to speak. That's just as totalitarian as to some of the stuff we get from the TRAs, which I'm in agreement of. Others have said that in no way am I ever doing it, which is also absolutely fine. So from that perspective, I would never ever expect anybody to behave in a manner that I do. I can only mirror the behaviour that I would like to see them do. So I can only say, well, I'm sorry, this is not what I would do. And I do what I wouldn't do, and I don't expect anybody else to do it. Right? We have to influence each other. We don't have to shout and scream at each other, I suppose. So, some people get angry, and I can understand why. Others are like, oh, for God's sake, give it up. It's not important. So you want my take on it? I'll give it to you, right? So amongst all the brilliant stuff that's going on, Kelly J. Keane calling people out and saying, what's going on here? Because I do not think people are taking seriously enough the threat of Debbie Hayton. Right? You need to take this very seriously indeed. Because what the man did in that article is try to connect his 3-year-old self in his memory with his paraphiliac adult self. There are no AGP children. And when we enable this to happen, this process, this idea that there's a process of it, then we end up with the argument that it's innate and therefore is a sexuality. This cannot be allowed to happen on any level. Any level at all. Right? So that's the first thing. Okay? And if you don't understand that, you really need to get your head around it very quickly. Very quickly, because that's what he's doing. Right? And like the other ones, he needs out of the movement. He's nothing to do with us. At all. Right, so that's the first thing. Now let's do the pronouns thing. I will not ever, under any circumstances, use pronouns for any of them. I don't care who they are, and I know a few. They don't get it. They don't get that, right? And the reason that they don't get that is because this, first and foremost, is a linguistic and ontological battle. It is a fight over knowledge. It is a fight over truth. And if you allow this to creep in just for one, you allow it to creep in for all. If you allow this idea of pronoun use as something that's important to be used in schools, which it is being used, then you burst the reality for the young people and the children. If you allow this to happen in any format whatsoever, then you allow the encroachment of the ideology into our argot, our language of reality that we speak to one another on a daily basis. Therefore, I, individually, as a person, will not comply with pronouns. Ever. I don't care who they are. Ever. Right? That's my take. That's all I can do. The only person I can control is me. And from my perspective, that is what I will do. And when we center these AGP paraphilic fetishistic men, even if they're seen to be the kind, you are doing a disservice to us all. That's my opinion. You don't have to believe me. You don't even have to like me, right? You want to talk about it? I'll happily talk about it. But you are doing a disservice. And when we use pronouns, that is the Trojan horse for gender identity ideology. Now, our Dennis said to me this morning, there's bigger fish to fry. You're right, Dennis, there is bigger fish to fry, right? And I'm watching you fry them. Brilliant on GB News last night, by the way. I'm watching you fry them, right? Okay, I'm watching you fry them. But this is huge. This is massive. And you mustn't underestimate. You do not give 1 inch on this, because once you've given that 1 inch, you've given away the whole damn game. Pronouns is where it started. I was there. Well, wouldn't it be a good idea if? Pronouns is where it starts, right? That is the beginning of the Trojan horse. That's the beginning of letting them in. That's the beginning of the barbarians not being at the gates, but in the city. You do not give them an inch. And pronouns for me is where it starts. And I know that it is for many other people as well. Okay? So you have to decide from your perspective what you want to do. And other people can lambast you for doing it because that's the way the game's played. And you can argue your point or you can lose your point. But for God's sake, can we stop blocking each other and screaming at each other? And we should be able to bitch slap each other up and down the bloody beltway and then go for a coffee. That's what we should be able to do. You know? I don't care if it's Debbie Hayton or the next one that comes toddling along, right? I don't care. They have no place in the movement. We do not engage with them. And we do not give them airspace, and we certainly don't interview them in the Times and call them she. That's my take. Your take may be different. You may want to do that. You will, of course, be judged accordingly, as I will, for my stand. But that's okay, all right? But don't belittle the idea, because believe me, pronouns is where it starts. Genuinely, it's where it starts. We gave him a whole series of stuff in the Mail, a series in the Times. You bet he's enjoying that. You do not understand how the paraphilia and the fetish works. It's obsession. It takes over the mind completely. And I will not have him linking his adult problems to his child self. There are no autogynephiliac children. There are no fetishistic children. Certainly not 3 years old. Jesus, I used to run around thinking that was Barbara Streisand. Don't rain on my parade. Except in a West Country accent. Don't tell me not to live, just sit and patter, right? Do what the hell you want. I'm just making my statement. I do not, will not, and never will use pronouns for any of them. I won't sign pronouns. I won't tick a box about pronouns. I won't tolerate pronouns in an email signature. I won't tolerate telling people that pronouns, somebody telling me that I should use them. I won't tolerate it. That's just me. What you do is up to you. But it is my fervent belief that this is the droplet in the... Do you remember the film Contagion? Where the bat shit on the pig? That's it. That's what a pronoun is. They shit on the pig, cut the pig up, you have your roast pork, before you know it's all over. This is the beginning of the parasitization of our society. It is the beginning of the parasitation of the... I can't say it. The infection of the individual. By pronouns, right? That's what it is. It's up to you to decide which side of the fence you're on, but we can make that declarative statement and say, I'm sorry, I believe this. The worry is when what we think is happening is that somebody else is giving them succor, and that's what you've got to be careful not to do. You can't give them succor. There is no hope that you are ever going to be accepted in female spaces, that your fetish and paraphilia is ever going to be accepted as sexuality, and there's certainly no hope that your fetish and paraphilia is going to be something that you try to convince the rest of the damn country about, that you were born with and you had it as a child. Rubbish! Of the first order. Children do not have paraphilias and fetishes. Gee, man. Right? So let's leave the kids out of it, Debbie, right? And better still, let's not give Debbie the time of day. Cut it with the pronouns. I don't know what you're doing, but that's just me. Over to you. Do what the hell you want. We're all adults. I might vehemently disagree with you on that, mine. I might need your help next week, so I'll give you a shout. All right? Then go and have a cup of tea. Leave me alone. Ta.